Yeah.
Hey guys, back at you again with yet again another movie review. Today I'm going to be talking about the documentary Beyond Utopia, directed by Madeline Gavin, following the accounts of North Korean defectors as they traverse trying to get their families out of North Korea. And this film dives into the incessant amount of indoctrination that the North Korean government places upon their people, and so much more. But primarily it follows these two families. One family trying to escape North Korea through the Changbai Mountains of China, and it follows their trek all the way throughout Asia. And also, of course, this mother who's trying to get her son out of North Korea, who she's left behind for many years at this point. And look, I've been hearing a lot of Oscar buzz for Best Documentary Feature, a lot of great things ever since it premiered at Sundance last year, and now it was finally made available through PBS, and I'll drop the link down below so you guys can watch it. Though it says it's 4 minutes shorter than the actual documentary. Maybe if someone who's more familiar with the release of this can explain, were the credits condensed over the closing moments of the film? I want to know, because it really doesn't feel like much is left out. If anything, it feels like it went on a little too long, which isn't really that much of a criticism, because I was expecting this to be great. But for the first hour of this, I legitimately thought this was probably the best movie of the decade after Godzilla Minus One. Like, I'm not even kidding, I thought this might have been the best documentary I've ever seen. And it certainly is one of them, because when it comes to documentaries, I mean, there's been so many great ones this year. 20 Days in Mariupol is one that I really liken this to, considering how much of a miracle that both of these films were released and that we got access, at least the access that we did, to the subjects in this documentary. Following them throughout their escape is really unbelievable, that through all these trials and tribulations we have this footage. And yet again, I think that speaks to not only the bravery of these people, but also the filmmakers involved who were out there. Obviously the director wasn't there, but the crew that was involved in this. And of course, Pastor Kim, who is really the focal point of these two stories, and he's kind of like the cross between them, and the one who really kicks off this narrative. And he's a political activist who tries to get North Korean defectors to safety. And I just have to say, he is an international hero. This guy is one of the most selfless, one of the most passionate, one of the most... everything about him is just the epitome of what humanity should be, and I have nothing but respect for this guy. I wish I was as selfless as Pastor Kim is in this, and the way he helps out these families is truly unbelievable. And the thing that is so amazing about this documentary, I think you truly get to know all these people involved. They feel like written characters in a script, and I mean that in the best way possible, because through their humanity and their real-life stories, it is presented in such a cinematic way that you're able to understand who these people are. You are able to empathize with their plight and completely understand emotionally what they are going through. This is an absolutely phenomenal triumph in documentary filmmaking on all accounts. I think that this is so riveting, and I think the thing that is just even more amazing and also harrowing about this is just the account of, the North Korean regime, because that is what it is. And as I alluded to earlier, the levels of indoctrination going on in that country. Like, look, I knew North Korea was bad, but I didn't know it was, like, maybe even worse than Nazi Germany. Sure, they might not be sending, millions of Jews to concentration camps or anything, but at the same time, what they are doing to their own people is absolutely sickening, and the lies that are fed are some of the most shocking aspects of any country's history and development that I've ever heard. And you get to see throughout the documentary as well, especially with the people escaping, how that indoctrination has affected their entire worldview. And what I have to give a lot of credit for, because I believe Gavin went on the dark web to pull certain propaganda and footage of people being tortured in North Korea. And you're like watching this and it's like unbelievable access. I think not only are the characters and the people in this real life story so well articulated, but so is the information given in this documentary. It is so informative, and I feel like the way they go over the history of the North Korean regime is honestly absolutely spectacular, and I feel like I have almost a full understanding of what that government is like. And just speaking on it, it just absolutely blows my mind how all these pieces of this film came together. And yet again, maybe this is a personal thing. For me, it slowed down a little bit in the second half, though it is beyond tense. Don't you worry about that for a second. I think the last 30 minutes of this movie especially, or at least in parts, is really, really nail-biting and unbelievable. But I feel like the film gets a little repetitive in spots, and I'm able to forgive it and give it a bit of leeway, because it is a documentary, and I understand, considering the situation, why it is the way that is. Because the drama still emotionally hits like a tank. I mean, this is one of the most gripping, investing films I've seen from all of 2023. This is including feature-length films, obviously, and the thing that is just so amazing about it still is it's able to grip you from start to finish. Though, yet again, there's like maybe one subject I would have liked them to dive a little bit deeper into, because you have this really interesting talking heads of this person, and I really would love to have gotten more of their story. And yet again, when it comes to I just feel like this film goes on for a little bit longer than it does, but I think where it concludes is still such a incredibly profound, thoughtful, and harrowing note that these people, have to deal with, especially in this situation. And this is something that no one should ever have to deal with. And I legitimately think maybe even more so than Russia, that North Korea is literally the single worst place to live in the entire world. It is honestly quite sickening, the levels of depravity that government and Kim Jong-un reach. And yet again, you see how these people still have a sense of guilt over that. It's truly unbelievable, unforgettable story, and one of the most informative, one of the most emotionally charged. Yet again, there's so many moments that feel like they would be in a masterpiece film. Just like genuine moments of human reaction that feel like something so scripted, but it's not. This is just real people dealing with an incredibly complex and maybe even perhaps traumatizing experiences, and in some instances in this film. And it's just chronicled so beautifully throughout this entire runtime. This is the absolute best documentary of the year. Even, maybe even more than something like Renaissance, which, yet again, was my favorite. But man, it's like, this year does not stop! And we're in 2024! I mean, what does that tell you? This is going to be the hardest top 10 list I've ever had to put together, but I really don't see how a film like Beyond Utopia can miss. So I'm going to give this a 9.5 out of 10. A very, very extremely high recommendation from myself. I think that anyone who's interested in world politics and human rights, I think everyone should see this film, because it's absolutely eye-opening if you haven't already been keyed into the information that's presented in this documentary. And this was certainly eye-opening to myself, and certainly one of the most rewarding films that I have seen, and one of the most impressive achievements, just from the fact that how this movie came together. It's movies like these that, without this kind of activism, where would the world be? Because, as we always say, the world is so evil, there's so much surrounding it, But I think this is proof that there is more good than evil, emphasized in these people presented in this story in such a beautiful way. I absolutely adore this film, and I think if you guys watch it, you will too. But if you have seen it, let me know what you think down in the comments below of this incredible, incredible story. And smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more reviews like this, and if you want to see me talk about more films from 2023. There's going to be so much more coming out very soon. It just kind of sucks that my area's slacking a little bit on getting all the goods, when most people have already gotten them. But rest assured, I will be talking about some of the big award contenders and just some great movies that are still on the horizon that I have yet to see personally. And yeah, guys, until the next video, you have yourselves a good week, and we'll talk about movies real soon. Take it easy now.